I am Patrick DiTilio. I'm going to walk through the event guidelines, the agenda, and then give a quick intro. So I'm Patrick DiTilio. I'm a Meetups staff Android engineer, and I want to thank you for joining us here on today's event, The Power of Personal Growth in Tech Communities with Morad Stern. Morad's going to share how he's overcome certain challenges when it comes to securing event speakers, developing a distinct voice, and engaging with members. I'm going to give a quick hop over to the rules or the event guidelines. So this event is being recorded, but you are not going to appear in the video. It is just me and Morad. All of your everybody's mic will be muted during the event, but you're welcome to submit questions via the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. Let's see. All right. So let me first introduce Morad. I'm gonna sorry, the agenda. That'd probably be helpful. I'm just gonna start with a quick introduction. Discussion with Morad is gonna be the bulk of this talk, and then we'll follow up with Q&A at the end. So let's jump in. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so you can actually see us. All right. Hey, Morad, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Morad, do you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself and what you're doing
Sure.
over at
Uh,
Wix?
First, let me just say that you're sitting in a very cool place.
Thank you.
Well, I'm hiding from the kids. Actually, they're not sleeping yet. Here in Israel, it's now 10 p.m.
Oh,
Yeah, they should be sleeping, but they're not. So I'm here hiding,
and
and you're in a very cool place. Yeah. So
thank
that's
you.
it. I
I
needed to say that.
I am also hiding from the children. They are upstairs. Fortunately, I'm in the basement office here, so
You have a
I
good hiding place.
I I have a little bit longer before they're going to be in bed. Unfortunately, apologies if anybody can hear them. They may make a very loud introduction of themselves,
Very good.
uh,
Uh,
but
okay.
please
So
continue.
sure. So I'm Morad Stern. I'm a father of four kids. Um, I actually likes to blog, really likes to blog. I love being part of the community with all kinds of activities that I love doing. And I work at Wix. I love Wix. I love being part of Wix. And I actually lead the part of the Wix engineering um, dev activities on the community, meaning all the meetups and the content that we share with the community and growing our developers. And I guess that we will talk about it. Um, Basically, that's me. That's it. That's it.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
thank you very much for joining us.
sure, thank you.
So you built the Tech and Innovation Forum. You've got Israeli Telegram broadcast channel. You've got a ton of you've been bringing together people from all over the place. Can you tell us a little bit about your group, Meetups at Wix?
Yeah. So actually, it's Wix meetup group. It was launched on 2013, December. That's a long way ago. Um, it's mostly, uh, the members are mostly developers and engineers because the topics we are talking are mostly topics from the engineering world, if it's front end or back end or mobile. We actually, and I think this is an interesting point, we actually never talk about the product, the Wix platform, which I think it's an amazing platform. that enables anyone to really easily establish his or her or the organization online presence uh, and fast, but we do talk about the engineering insights that we learn along the way. This is what we do. Um, our headquarters are based in Tel Aviv, so the group is based in Tel Aviv as well. We also have meetup groups in Kiev and Dnipro and Vilnius. And I think one more thing, interesting thing, is that, I think we'll touch that in a few minutes, but you cannot uh, estimate a group if it's or a community if it's good or not based on numbers. How many members does it have? However, our group is now the second largest group in Israel, which is now have 12,800 people in it. And again, it's not saying that this is a good one, but we're really proud of it.
Yeah,
That
that is definitely an accomplishment. I think you have every right to be proud of making being a part of and helping bring together that many people. That's fantastic. So I guess I wanted to ask you, what sort of motivated you to start the group? How'd you get into this?
so basically we are a very engineering focused company. Our founders are engineers. Half of the company actually is R&D. So it's so deep in our culture, our engineering culture, um, to share knowledge, to learn, to help others. And by the way, if you look at the engineering community worldwide, you can also say that there's something in that engineering culture of helping others and sharing things, and you have open source where you contribute code. So, and we also invest in that, but we also invest in sharing what we've learned along the way with others. Now, um, our platform, the Wix platform, as I said, enables anyone to establish his or her or the organization online presence, and really quick and really simple. But behind the scenes, the machine is very sophisticated. And to get there, we learned a lot. We we faced a lot of challenges. And that's why we have a lot to share and to be part of the, let's call it the engineering discussion out there, and to give things. Um, and I think the last part is that we know how much this process is being part of, uh, uh, of a meetup, arranging, organizing, leading, initiating meetups is making our engineers grow, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, and you've had enormous success since you started this group. I guess what was your strategy from the get go? Did you have to pivot at all in how you were able to how I guess how were you able to get to be so successful and have almost 13,000 members in your meetup group?
I think that's something in the spirit of what we're doing. Patrick, when you go up on stage and you're going to talk about something, you really want to know what you're going to talk about. Um, and we found out that having our engineers up on stage is also, besides many, many things that we will touch in a second, I guess, is also a great journey of learning. So go up on stage and talking and sharing your expertise is a great way of learning, and we great believers in learning and growing. Um, and we also believe that the um, the event, if you really prepare to it, and we do, this is something that we might want to talk from the get-go to the idea. And if the developer wants and need, communication help, how to express idea, how to talk in front of audience, there's so many things that you can go through the process until you go up on stage. And the meetup is just one part of a very, very wide and long chain of of um, of activities and things that you can do to actually build your name. And now I think it's something that more and more people, also in the tech industry, understand that look, you can sit down all day and code and do your job. That's okay. But you can also go out on a journey and leave your comfort zone, leave your keyboard zone, and start sharing things with others. And it's amazing. I think I see things, and I guess we'll talk about the impact. But to go up on stage and give a show, it's something that um, is part of us. And I think it's something that gave us a very, very good impact along the way until today. Only the understanding of it and spreading this insight internally. Um, and one more thing, I think, is that people are busy. Our devs are busy. Your devs are busy. Everybody are busy.
Everybody is busy.
Yeah. Um, but we do care about praising our developers that taking part of it in it, both internally and externally. So it's being something more, of a celebration. The fact that someone is doing that. And one of the funniest thing that you can see is that sometimes, usually when you go online, and today on the COVID era, everything is online, right?
Yes,
There are
indeed.
platforms like Facebook that the circles of the people who are taking part in these community activities and meetups, uh, the circles are more about friends and family, and we praise them on that too. And there you can see all kinds of comments that of people who are not really understanding what was the topic, what he or she were going to talk about or talked about. Um, but it's yeah, go and very and praising them just because being friends. And I think this is something that really spiced up your career, spice up your daily life, just to leave your comfort zone, understand that you have contribute to something to contribute here, and spreading it out.
Yeah, I think maybe not all of us share those small, uh, maybe not even small, exciting and exciting collaborations and share the and talks and blog posts that with
Sure.
friends and family and it may be just people in at work or in our industry. So it's really awesome that you've been able to help spread people's accomplishments on their journey, just sort of out a little to everybody in their life. You mentioned uh, about sort of your impact on, I guess, your approach for securing. How are you able to secure speakers and sort of have them develop their distinct voice and I guess grow engaging members? Is there any strategies you've seen that have been working for you? It seems with almost 13,000 members, you're doing something right. I'm sure uh, everyone on here would love to know. Uh,
I think that, I think it's about values. It's about not what it's about the value, that more accurate, that you can bring to the table. It's about really looking out for cutting edge topics. It's about working with the speakers. And you need to give them to focus on the talk. If we now just talking about presentations and lecture, you really need to give them the safe space of focusing on their upcoming talk and do anything else. Just let them focus on that and help with anything needed, from building the presentation and make it more beautiful if needed, to workshop. And even if we go deeper, the understanding of why should I invest time in it. So you have responsibility. This is something that we truly believe. You have unique knowledge, and the community needs it. It's doing good. As we talked about open source, sharing your expertise, sharing your insight, the things that you manage to compete and solve in the engineering world is your duty to share. With great powers come great
Great
responsibility.
responsibilities,
Yeah,
yes.
so with deep cutting edge knowledge comes great responsibility, and the words needed, I think, today more than ever. So this is something that we truly believe and really drive what we do. And I think it's like a snowball that rolling down and become bigger and bigger. For example, and I guess this is where we touch the impact of what we do. When you face the fear of public speaking, and this fear is something that common with many, by many, and you see that person, you see that developer, he or she that were really terrified to go up and share what they have to share, to talk about what they have to talk. And step by step, they're starting to feel comfortable on that stage. And step by step, you see that other conference, when it was okay, starting to sending them invitation to fly over and come to them. So you actually see someone grows. It's not just that he or she are being, we talked about the learning process and the fact that you learn by learning others, by teaching others. Um, but you actually see people starting to take an active approach through the community. And as said, Meetup is just one step in that big world of activities. And then maybe they start writing articles, and people start inviting them to more events, and they're starting to know people. And this is where I think, related to what we said before, you can sit down all day and code. But once you understand that there is an amazing community out there, and you have good content, and we all do, by the way, we all do. This is something that I would be happy to repeat 1,000 times and relate it to anyone that hears us now. We have this, and there's amazing books by Seth Godin that said that he's talking about the resistance. I'm not going to talk about what it means, but this is thing that stops us from doing great stuff. And it's within us.
Right.
Nothing external. It's within us. And the resistance is telling us that what I know, everybody knows. And what I have nothing new to share with the world. And this is a shame. This is so wrong.
Yeah.
And once you understand that, once you manage to really touch people and let them see the truth, that their knowledge was acquired by many, many, many steps along the way. They don't see it anymore. They think that everybody knows that. And we have lucky at WITS because we really work in cutting edge technology. So you have a responsibility to share that. Don't ignore it. So if you combine it, I think you see great stuff. And two more things I think that I can add about the impact and the process of what we've done so far was one that um, we really looked, and again, I think this is a good tip for everyone who are listening to us. We really looked for great stories. We are looking always for the best value to give to our community. And sometimes you can find treasure. We had more than once, more than twice, and more than that, that we had to ask people not to register to a meetup because there were too many. Until we found out that you can limit RSVP, then we learned that. But we had to double the meetup. Say, okay, that was the meetup. We stopped registration because it was overbooked and before Zoom area. And we did the same thing with the same lecture again. So that was an amazing, again, just because we really looking deeper into good insights, good stories. And one more thing I should add, there's a great talk, a great video where Steve Jobs, where he returned to Apple and he launched the Think Different campaign. And there he said, he started talking about Nike and how they overcome this, and he calls it the noisy world. And he said that um, it's even more surprising because they're still commodity. And when you think Nike, you don't think commodity. You don't think shoes. You think much more than that. And they did that because they celebrated the sport spirit. They're celebrating athletes. And one of the coolest things, I think, in our activity is that we also celebrate the one of, some of the deepest minds in the engineering world. A year ago, for example, before you had the COVID and no flights and hiding in these kinds of rooms,
Yeah.
um, we had the honor to invite and have Joel Spalsky, um, founder and CEO of Stack Overflow, which is the Bible of many, many developers, to come to us and meet our developers and engineers. And people went crazy. They went selfie with him, and it was a real celebration. And then we had an open meetup with him, bringing him to the local community to meet your hero. There was a lot of effort in that activity. So I think that sums up part of the journey and why and how and some of the impact that we see.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think it seems like you've had a really solid impact on both your local uh your region, your tech bubble, and then the wider tech community all around the world. That's but you mentioned COVID. I and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask how How has COVID sort of been affecting your group? Have you had to face any? Has there been any challenges before COVID that you needed to pivot what you were focusing on, and then after, what sort of shift do you have there?
Well, we're here, I think everybody shares the same stuff. Uh, no personal, face-to-face meetups, no, seeing people. And one more thing, so far until COVID-19, every meetup group was very, very solid regarding its geographical borders, the people who are joining and seeing the things that you do and participating. So it's had, the community had its culture because it's local and geographically based. Um, but now the borders are broken and the groups are being grown, but with different people from different countries. So now it's a different challenge to look at it, and we need to see what's happening when, if COVID-19 is over. So that's regarding challenges.
Yeah, yeah, that's understandable. But that's really awesome that you're getting a lot more people outside, obviously the local community,
Yeah,
but people like we have here from all over the world popping in.
that's great.
It
I,
Yeah, it's really exciting. I know it's something that everyone here working at Meetup is really excited how quickly uh, things have taken off. How many events have been scheduled? I want to say it was like over 1 million online events in the first 6 months,
wow.
something that was an incredibly
Mhm.
exciting time,
But
even
no pizza.
with all this. Yes, but no pizza. There is a distinct lack of pizza, which I would like to apologize for, just on the whole. Um, I guess what other advice would you give to sort of tech organizer?
So, you know, the first one I think will be about passion and value. I think the best communities, the best meetup groups are the ones who are driven by passion to the topics they are covering and talking about, and a constant search for great stories and deep insights. So I think that, and again, I said at the beginning with a smile because we talked about the number of our meetup group, 12,800, um, and second largest group in the job. But it's not important, right? What is important is the quality and maybe I should say also the accurate of members that you have in your group, in your community. So this is number one, the passion and the search for value. Um, that one tip that I think is super, super important. The second one that we touched already is to give the developers um, the freedom from everything that not related to their upcoming talk. From the marketing efforts to the logistics. And if they need, so setting up workshop, a public speaking workshop, helping them with the presentations, anything needed so they can really focus on what they have to to talk about and to prepare the best content they can have without having their mind spread all over with different things that you can take care of. So this is, I think, your responsibility as an organizer. Um, and and I think that it's even I would say another thing is that, and you cannot Okay, it's harder to do that today. Um, when we had the offline events, one of the best things, the best experience was to welcome people who are coming to your meetup. Showing them where the pizza is, but also really thanking them and saying hello because someone trusts you, someone believed that you worth their time. So they did an effort. They came to your location and now they're sitting and listening and learning. I hope so. But the welcoming is like super important. One
Yeah,
of my favorite stuff that now it's really hard to do.
yeah, a lot more challenging these days. But I do recall the first meetup I went to. I got a good introduction in DC, and actually my director, Anise, director of engineering, Anise Davis. That's actually where I met her. Was at my first meetup in Washington D.C. And now we actually both, and neither of us worked here at the time. It
Oh,
was years ago, but we both ended up working here. So you really never, I guess you never know who you're going to meet. So it's definitely the tech world is smaller than it looks. You so I think it's really good. It's a fantastic meetup events are really fantastic for meeting new people. That
and at the end, we're not robots. Meaning we
yeah,
do like meeting new people and sharing ideas, and that was it's all about. And now it's also cool because now you have global outreach and things like that, but it's a bit cooler than what it was before. And I think I should say we're missing it, really missing it. So that's thing that I would say. I would also say mm, don't give up. Or I remember, and this is a personal story. Um, way before I joined Wix, my first meetup was a disaster. Okay, I managed to bring someone quite important, and I think there were like 3 people coming to that event. And I remember myself running up on our building. It was the meetup was in a building, and it was in the evening. And I remember myself, much younger, running up and down the stairs and knocking on different companies' doors and saying, "Hey, there's a great meetup here now. If you want to come, just to see that my guest is not being, you know, disappointed."
yeah, understandable. That is
And wow, it was so much. It was a long time ago, and it still, hurt me to remember at that experience. But it taught me a lot. It taught me about how important it is to um, to not only and we talked about it, look for great stories, but also know how to map the relevant audience and to not push the meetup to that audience, but to know where um, I don't want to go deeper into that. Now we're a bit about
yeah,
marketing and how to attract audience, but to really be on the right uh, radar of the right people.
yeah. That's
And there's so much to learn about it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, we are actually right on just over on time for Q&A, so we can jump into answering some questions. There's if you look anybody here look down at there's a Q&A button. You can ask questions and we'll jump in right now. Let's see. Ooh, Here's one from Jacqueline Gordon. What was the name of the book you mentioned a few minutes ago?
Okay. Steph Godin, um, Linchpin.
Linchpin. Linchpin?
Yeah.
Linchpin. Awesome. Thank you. Let's
Lin-
see.
just a second. Let me search the Linchpin. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Linchpin. Steph Godin. Da-da-da-da-da. Lynch.
Leonid asked, what is your meetup group called? He was asking for the full name.
Sorry.
The full name of your meetup group.
Meetup at Wix.
I'm gonna type it in chat just so
And yeah,
everybody
yeah,
catches.
I was correct. It's Linchpin. Linchpin, that's the book that Seth Godin is talking about the resistance. He called it the resistance, things that are within us that actually stop us from doing great things. And this is where I approach the idea of the things that you know and you think that everybody knows is a mistake that you should avoid.
Here's another one from Jacqueline Gordon. Do you think it's the individual people, the Wix community, and or the local tech, Tel Aviv community, that has made your meetup so successful? I'm in New York City, and I often see related Zooms, webinars, topics, and events scheduled for the same evening and time. Maybe it's a function of the size of the local tech community, the city, and or uh, how different groups coordinate or don't with another. So do you think it's the Wix, individuals in the Wix community or the local tech community that has made it
Um,
contribute to your success?
well, I think that we're doing a lot of effort to be where we are. Um, but of course, and I think that maybe the answer is that, you know, every country, and I should even say every region within a country, has its own um, culture differences. And I think that if you know to work accordingly and express, and we talked a lot about the insights and the good stories, but there's a way to connect. There's a way to deliver a message. And I think if I'm understand the question correctly, that we know how to talk um, to the community that we live in because we're part of it. So yes, I think that communication and the way that communities and meetups groups work is a bit different, and sometimes to the not very sophisticated eye, it will be the same. But if you look deeper and you truly understand minor cultural differences, you might find things that are different between communities around the world. If again, if I understand correctly the question.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Um, Hector Ortiz asked, have you found a way to monetize uh, your, I guess, your meetup group, or has he been able to?
No, no, it's not. It's not for that. Um, no, 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 no. It's always open. It's always free. Nothing like that.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I look like somebody uh, looking for the other question, but I can't seem to find it all of a sudden. Um, there it is. Jeannie asked, how do you select the topics to present on? Does the speaker select the topic? Do you select the topic? Who sort of makes those decisions?
Okay, so so this is a good question because I think it touches on that point that we talked about, the pursuit of content, the pursuit of value. Um, and, and, and good content comes in many surprising ways. Sometimes there can be a developer, he or she, that comes to you and say, look, my team just worked on that thing and it's amazing and we want to talk about it. And you dig a bit and you learn you learn what they did and you say, oh, whoa, this is crazy. Okay, we should definitely talk about it. And sometimes you hear things that people are not even aware of how amazing they are. So I think that the answer can be part of the tips that we talked for organizer of, I said look for stories, but it's also about being open to stories. Sometimes I really advise other organizers to think like journalists. Journalists are always on the hunt for good stories. This is what they do. But they also have, a good ear to all kinds of whispers and all kinds of um, gossip about cool things that happen. So you need to be both open and also very active, if that answered the question.
Yes, I think so. Thank you. That was good. All right. Looks like we have time for one more question. And this was from Avi. To reach just about 13,000 members, you must put a lot of time into this. How do you explain to others at Wix the value or the return on investment that Wix is getting from this investment of your time and effort?
Um, I think that my coming to Wix was a perfect match because this is part of our culture. The investment in the community, the efforts that are being made, and if you think about it, we talked about how much developers and engineers are super busy, right? And that's time. That's a lot of time, not just for my end, but for many people ends. But this is part of our culture. This is part of what we do, and this is part of what we are. And as we said, with great powers come great
Great
responsibility.
responsibility.
And we have the knowledge, and we not because we're super smart, but because we've been there and we faced that. And we learn stuff that we want to share. And so I think that the match is perfect, and everybody sees that as something that this is what we are. This is part of us. And by the way, I think that we are, I should say, a company that invests a lot in the growing of our developers. And here's an interesting point. There's one day every week that is dedicated to learning. 20% of the engineer's time
There's
is,
time. Yeah, that is
yeah,
fantastic.
to
Yeah.
learn. So it's amazing. And not just that, but we talked about developers that grow and build their names, their personal brand, and being invited to meetups abroad and so on. But sometimes being well known can lead you to different companies. And that's a challenge if you think about it, because people are being, growing and leaving. But here's our mindset about it. We always look at it as the best chapter of your career, meaning the place where you really grew and learned and was much more than sitting down and coding, but also leaving your comfort zone and going out to that journey that maybe it's not comfortable all the time, but that what makes you grow at the end.
Thank you so much. That is fantastic. Um, Unfortunately, our time is up, but before we go, I wanted to thank, of course, Morad for joining us, as well as everyone here. All what are we at currently 138 people around the world. Thank you for joining us here. For those of you who aren't organizers, if you're interested in starting your own group and joining our community of organizers, you can use this link up here off to get 50% off your first subscription payment. We're sharing it in the chat, so don't worry. You don't have to try to take a screenshot or write it down. You should be, there'll be a clickable link here in just a second. Thank all of you for joining us today. Thank you so much to Morad for his time and your insights. You'll be able to view a recording and recap of this event on our Community Matters blog at which is meetup.com/blog. So thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day and a good hopefully good evening, and hopefully the kids will be down somewhat soon.
I hope so.
All right, thank you so much, everybody. Have a great time. I'll see you.
Bye bye. Thank you.